With seats still available at Sauber and RB, who will get a spot on the F1 2025 grid? Welcome back to GP. I'm Jamie Chambers. The F1 2025 grid has been filling up fast, and it would appear the silly season is coming to a close. While the 2023 silly season was almost non-existent, the 2024 season has been far more interesting as the F1 2025 grid finally fills up. At the start of the season, only 7 drivers had contracts until the 2025 campaign, which left 13 seats available. That definitely left room open for several bold team moves and reshuffles on the F1 grid. Places are almost filled up, though there are still some seats open and maybe still some big decisions to be made. Let's review the current 2025 grid as it stands and the state of play over the last few seats for the F1 2025 season. First up, Red Bull. Max Verstappen has a contract until the end of 2028. Sergio Perez has a contract until the end of 2026. Verstappen signed a mega 6-year contract extension after his first title-winning season with Red Bull in 2021, and he will barely be halfway through it by the time he reaches 2025. Sergio Perez will apparently be joining him on the grid at Red Bull, having signed a new contract with Red Bull until the end of 2026, partway through this season. Now, straight off the bat, this is a contentious seat. With Red Bull looking like a one-driver team at the front of the grid for most of the 2024 season, can they afford to keep Sergio Perez on for 2025? With Liam Lawson waiting in the wings, Danny Rick still in the RB family, and Yuki Tsunoda still performing well, would Red Bull do better to twist rather than stick with their current second driver? If they were to lose one or both championships this year, the answer might just be to twist. As much as I feel that I should predict Perez to be let go by Red Bull at the end of the 2024 season and replaced by Liam Lawson, I just don't think it will happen, with Red Bull favouring giving Perez another half season in 2025 before promoting Lawson from a seat at RB. Mercedes. George Russell has a contract until the end of 2025, and Andrea Kimi Antonelli has a contract covering at least the 2025 season. At the start of the season, Mercedes confirmed George Russell and Lewis Hamilton would remain as teammates until the end of 2025, until Hamilton made his switch to Ferrari for the next season, a move few had seen coming. The team waited until the Italian Grand Prix to confirm the identity of Hamilton's replacement, with teenage sensation Andrea Kimi Antonelli promoted from F2. He certainly made an impression at Monza, even if it was into the tyre wall. The only contention here is if Hamilton decides he would rather stay at Mercedes than go to Ferrari. Speaking of Ferrari, Charles Leclerc has a contract for several more seasons beyond 2025. Lewis Hamilton has a contract which is multi-year. Leclerc is confirmed on a new contract with Ferrari that will take him into F1 2025, but the Scuderia haven't confirmed just how long his new deal is for. On the other side of the garage, Lewis Hamilton made a sensational switch from Mercedes to join Ferrari on a multi-year deal that begins in 2025. Aston Martin. Lance Stroll has a contract to 2025 and beyond. Fernando Alonso has a multi-year contract until at least the end of 2026. Having been linked with Mercedes and Red Bull in the early months of 2024, Fernando Alonso put pen to paper on a multi-year contract to remain with Aston Martin until at least 2026, setting him up for a reunion with his old friends at Honda. As for Lance Stroll, his contractual status had appeared to have been on a rolling basis, but the team confirmed a new deal in June 24 for the 25 and beyond seasons, without an exact end date. Although I think a lot of fans would like to see Felipe Drugovich racing for Aston Martin sooner rather than later. Next up is McLaren. Lando Norris has a contract for a multi-year extension beyond 2025. Oscar Piastri has a contract until at least the end of 2026. Lando Norris signed a long-term contract extension with McLaren that will keep him with the team beyond the end of 2025, fending off any advances from other teams for his services. Oscar Piastri, meanwhile, penned a new contract with the team before the end of his debut season in 2023 that would see him through until the end of 2026, after impressing in his rookie year. Alpine. Pierre Gasly is contracted until at least the end of 2026. Jack Doohan gets his first contract until the end of 2025. In June, Alpine announced that Pierre Gasly would be staying with the team until at least the end of the 2026 season, having signed a new multi-year deal with the team. He will have a new teammate though, as it was confirmed in early June that Ocon will be leaving the team at the end of the season, and Jack Doohan is that new teammate, Alpine confirming in August that he will step up from reserve to race for the team in 2025. Williams. Alex Albon and Carlos Sainz both are contracted until at least the end of 2026. Alex Albon committed his long-term future to Williams in mid-May with a new multi-year contract announced by the team ahead of the Emiliano-Romagna Grand Prix at Imola. After months of speculation, Williams announced that Carlos Sainz would be Albon's new teammate for the start of the 2025 season after signing a 2-year deal until the end of 26 with options to extend. Haas. Oliver Behrman and Esteban Ocon have multi-year contracts until at least the end of 2026. Haas renewed both Nico Hülkenberg and Kevin Magnussen's contracts for the F1 2024 season after doing a solid job alongside each other in 2023, but it's all changed in an all-new lineup for 2025 and 2026 with Oliver Behrman and Esteban Ocon both being snapped up. Now onto the last two teams and the last two officially open seats. Sauber. Nico Hülkenberg has a multi-year contract until at least the end of 2026. Valtteri Bottas and F2 driver Gabriel Bortoleto are reportedly in the running for the final available seat in the F1 Sauber team, which is set to transition to the Audi Works team in 2026. While Bottas is currently with the team, Audi, which is overseeing key management decisions, has left all options on the table. The Sauber F1 team is the only outfit to have not scored a point so far in this current season, raising several questions about the drivers and the team's C44 F1 car. While the underperformance is mainly attributed to Sauber's lack of upgrades as a result of managerial restructuring, the drivers continue to face troubles in securing a seat elsewhere. Zhou Guanyu is said to be out of the race for the last available seat alongside Nico Hülkenberg, while Bottas's potential is being assessed. What makes the Finn's signing more complicated is his insistence on a multi-year contract to secure his F1 career for a few more years. In addition, he is also eager to be part of the Audi F1 project, and a 1-year contract won't see him being a part of that historic moment. Speaking about his preferences, Bottas told the media, "If I only sign for 1 year, I know that it probably won't be easy getting another contract next year either. That's not interesting for my career. I have the experience and I think that's what the team needs." However, despite the 11-year F1 experience Bottas holds, Audi could likely opt for a junior driver considering that the team already has one experienced driver already signed. Bortoleto, who is currently placed second in the F2 Championship, is being considered seriously, and a decision will be made in the coming weeks. The 19-year-old Brazilian driver is being backed by Fernando Alonso's A14 management agency, dedicated to nurturing and managing promising young talent. Mick Schumacher remains a contender, but he did not flourish in his 2-year Haas stint, even if that team was ultimately not the best environment for him. He would be a big risk after 2 years on the sidelines as a Mercedes reserve, even though he has kept racing outside of F1 and done a decent job in the WEC Championship with Alpine. Then the options move further into rookie territory. Sauber has its own development driver in Theo Pourchaire, the 2023 F2 champion, but he has been consistently overlooked, and presumably with good reason. Current Aston Martin reserve Felipe Drugovich, who won the 2022 F2 title, continues to hope for an F1 chance and brings some financial backing also. Interestingly, ex-F2 driver Robert Schwartzman has been picked up by Sauber for Friday practice this weekend. Binotto knows him well and is believed to think highly of his work as a simulator driver at Ferrari. Whichever name you pick from the hat, it is a driver of Bottas's calibre that sets the benchmark for the seat. He is the 4th most successful on the current grid in terms of wins. He's still available, still motivated, and still performing well, something that the other drivers have to measure up to. That's what makes them less likely choices, and what leaves Bottas confident of securing a renewal before the end of September. However, in saying that, my prediction for the Sauber seat is Bortoleto. Last up is RB. Yuki Tsunoda has a contract until the end of 2025. Red Bull signed Yuki Tsunoda for a 5th season to their sister team RB on another 1-year deal at the Canadian Grand Prix in 2024 after sterling performances at the start of the season. The second seat remains up for grabs. Helmut Marko suggested ahead of the Dutch Grand Prix that Liam Lawson will get a seat at one of the squad's 2 outfits next year. That means that either Sergio Perez or Danny Ricciardo will likely have to make way. Both Perez and Ricciardo's futures for the second half of the season had been in doubt after some mixed fortunes in the early stages of the campaign, but it was decided at the start of the summer break that both would be staying on for now. Red Bull will want to see an improvement from both drivers if they are to stay on next year, and that is something that both of them are well aware of. But while from the outside looking in, a Red Bull choice of picking its best 2 options from the 3 candidates seems obvious, there could be another scenario that plays out. that of Lawson being loaned out, and all three of the candidates still racing in F1 in 2025. Now, as we saw earlier in the season, that loan deal now can only be to Sauber or RB, which, as mentioned, are considering their options in the wake of Carlos Sainz's decision to turn them down and join Williams instead. It is understood that Sauber's previous bosses showed an interest in getting Lawson on loan for 2025 earlier in the year, before the trail went cold amid management turmoil that led to Chiefs Andreas Seidel and Oliver Hoffmann departing. While those talks had fizzled out, it is not hard to imagine that the signing of Red Bull sporting director Jonathan Wheatley as Sauber's new team principal provides an obvious link to get discussions rolling again, especially as he's well versed in knowing Lawson's strengths. So potentially that could mean a Sauber lineup of Hülkenberg and Lawson and an unchanged RB lineup for 2025. For me, this doesn't seem likely given Red Bull's less than stellar decision-making process thus far this year. However, my gut is saying that it is time up for Ricciardo in F1. My prediction for the RB lineup in 2025 will be Tsunoda and Lawson. So here is my grid for the F1 2025 season. Red Bull first half of the season, Verstappen and Perez plus Hadjar. Second half of the season, Verstappen and Lawson plus Iwasa. For McLaren, Norris and Piastri plus O'Ward. For Ferrari, Leclerc and Hamilton plus Schwartzman. For Mercedes, Russell and Antonelli plus Schumacher. Aston Martin will be Alonso and Stroll plus Drugovich. Alpine will be Gasly and Doohan plus Martins. Williams will have Albon and Sainz plus Sargent if he's lucky. Haas will have Ocon and Behrman plus Fittipaldi. RB in the first half of the season will have Tsunoda and Lawson plus Iwasa. And in the second half of the season, we'll have Tsunoda and Hadjar plus Crawford. Finally, Sauber will line up with Hülkenberg and Bortoleto plus Pourchaire. That still leaves Bottas, Zhou, Ricciardo, Drugovich, O'Ward, Pourchaire, Schwartzman and Schumacher, amongst others, still without an F1 seat. Perhaps we need more teams in F1, but that's a discussion for another video. So there you have it, my predictions for the final seats available in F1 and my F1 2025 grid. Does your grid shape up the same as mine? What key seats would you like to see change? Who is wasted on the sidelines and who has outstayed their welcome? Let me know in the comments. Remember to like, comment, share and subscribe. Keep the pedal to the metal, and I'll catch you in the next video.